to today. Sitting around at home, we were going to have Chris Carrabba from Dashboard Confessional, and that makes me feel excited. So, Sunday, very good, getting better already. And we're going to have him tune in, join up, and then we're gonna talk all kinds of stuff in songs mainly. So songwriting, these kind of things. Thank you all for your continuing tuning in to this show. This has been good. I got a lot of people coming up soon, and I'm not gonna tell you any of them. So this is very exciting for me. This is going to be a big one. And when Chris gets here, we'll give him a little allow request to join, and that's what we'll do. And we'll have him in here. I'm excited to see what's he gonna play. Who knows? But I cannot I can no longer function coming in right now. Hey,
Hey, buddy.
how are you?
I'm doing pretty good. How you doing?
I'm okay. Yeah, I can't
You look at,
see anymore.
you can't see,
Nah, so it's finally like gotten. I've had glasses for years, and
right?
I've reached the point where I can no longer see. So I put them on, and I all of a sudden can see.
That's what they're for, right?
Yeah, that's what they're for.
Yeah.
Doctor said that would happen, but I had them in a drawer, and I was like, I can't be bothered.
Well,
So
they suit you. You're all cleaned up now. It kind of suits you.
yeah,
I like it.
I had to give myself a haircut, and that was it.
Yes, I butchered my beard before I gave myself my haircut, and I said that better stop there. I mean,
Yeah,
look at this thing. It's a monstrous. I call it a Darth Vader helmet.
but it's
But
good. You have good hair. You've always had good hair, though.
well, thanks, man.
Your hair goes short, good, long, good. You can do that in between, but I don't have the patience for that.
Yeah, it takes a lot of patience, I guess.
I'll tell you though, this is an unknown secret. So my secret hair that I wish I had was there's a Stevie Nicks in the '70s had like kind of this feathered hair,
Oh,
and
yeah.
that's the goal hair for me if I could
Oh,
ever
yeah.
do it. So it's how are you doing today?
I'm doing, it's a beautiful day here. I'm in
Yeah.
Tennessee, you know,
Okay.
and it's just, it was like an outside day.
Yeah.
I needed it. The serotonin is kicking in. I feel better.
You gotta love that.
Yeah, it's, it's been a strange season, and I feel for all the people like in the Northeast that are just getting hammered with that cold weather
Yeah.
on top of being stuck on
Yeah.
their, like they can't even go for a walk, with a
Yeah.
mask because it's just too cold. So I
It's
feel
just
pretty
kind of
lucky. Feel luckier than I should in a time like this. How are you?
I'm good. It's okay. It's a little cold here, but not like insane cold.
Yeah,
So, but I don't care. Like it's just what are you gonna do?
yeah, yeah.
It's one of those. Am I echoing off of you?
No, not on
All
my
right,
end.
good.
But do
No,
you
you're
want to
not.
turn
You
down my
sound great.
volume or anything?
No, you sound impeccable. Actually,
I feel like I sound impeccable.
you do. You sound great. So this is wonderful.
You look
So
great. I sound great. But we got something going here.
together we're superpowered.
We're almost somewhere.
So I gotta ask you. You've had a very long and maintained career of consistency. You have
Hmm.
not. I don't think that you have ever released something where I went, ugh, you know, which, so how do you think you've been doing this for a long time, written lots of songs? How do you stay just like, you seem to stay on a point where you don't really, you haven't like, you know?
Well, I would disagree with you.
Okay.
I would thank you for that. I appreciate it.
Sure.
But I think there was a period that I'm only learning to like again now.
Okay.
Um, and I feel like moving forward, like I kind of faced my demons a little bit recently. What didn't I like about the records?
Okay.
I never hated one record specifically, like a whole record, but I thought
Yes.
there was some missteps in my last couple within the
Okay.
I thought there were songs that were great and emblematic of what we had originally set out to do. Because you have like you plant your flag somewhere when you're in a band,
Yeah.
And certainly you want to explore all the terrain around you and just go as far and wide as you can. But you still it's still your place. And I think I maybe got like to that point of thinking like I've got to be in a whole new place. And I don't know if I thought that like in order to be taken seriously or in order to look like I'm growing or feel like I'm growing, like look like I'm growing to myself, I mean.
Right.
But lately, being able to have like faced that, accepted that, I think I've kind of found what was great about every record,
Right.
and kind of set that at the high as the lowest bar.
Okay.
And I don't mean I'm like trying to write some smash that's going to outdo the last great thing I did. I just mean like in terms of like as you summit the mountain, I want to get a little bit higher. I want to get a little bit higher on my own mountain.
Yeah.
And I don't know how. I think it helps to be incredibly self-critical and honestly to like have a lot of self-doubt.
Yeah.
Because I think you end up you can be a really harsh critic of something. That I know you've had this happen because every songwriter I've ever talked to has had this happen.
Oh,
Where you've written something, you think it's terrible, you go away, you come back when you're starting your next batch of work and you go, what was I thinking? That's a great song.
Sure.
But it doesn't hit you in that place. And sometimes it's wrong. It's like not supposed to all hit here. It's not supposed to all hit here. It's supposed to kind of hit like here at the same time.
Right.
So I don't know what you're looking for. We all talk about how like all falls out of the sky and I think that's beautiful and colorful, and I love that. I love that feeling when it really does. But don't you also think it's like I'm not like, there are guys that write just hit after smash after smash, and they write them in all different genres for all different acts, and I'm not that. I just I push up my sleeves, and I go to work, and I start writing in the morning. I like to write in the morning.
Yeah.
When do you like to write?
I do it like a day job. I do it 9 o'clock to about like 1 or 2.
Yeah. Yeah, I put the hours in super early. Like when I'm writing, I'll try to wake up at like 3:30 in the morning.
Oh wow. Okay.
And I go down into my basement where I can be loud without disturbing the household. And I'll put in a full day's work, but I'll kind of be done with the day ready to go.
Yeah.
But I like that. When we were kids, like you wrote maybe, or I did, like I wrote in the middle of the night, or I wrote whenever it hit me, before responsibility set in, and before this became like the real job of our lives, instead of like the thing we were scrapping to do.
Yeah.
I mean, we've both been so lucky to come like from the world we've come from, and found gainful employment going forward. Yeah. It's like the cards. I wouldn't say like the psychics were like saying, yeah, that's how I read your palm. Yeah. But I like tricking myself into that same feeling of like a mysterious time frame. Yeah. Because it's like I'm going to work, but I still want that mysterious feeling to come in. So I like that idea of like there's no one, the world is down when I get to work. Sometimes I'll stay up that late and get started, but sometimes I'll wake, more often these days, I just wake up crazy early. I don't sleep much anyway, so it's kind of productive instead of just like lying there, like, what do I do with myself?
Right, right. Well, it's a good thing to do rather than sitting there like, eating chips and watching bad TV.
Yeah. How hard is that right now, man?
Well, yeah. I mean, Stan, I keep the guitar in my hands actually at night. Like that's the thing to do for me. I just practice all the time. Yeah. So like when everybody's sleeping, I just like an electric guitar with no not plugged in, and I just practice all night long.
Yep, I do it too. I practice my jazz that we were talking about.
Your jazz, you're for dinner music, right?
My for fancy dinner music. Look.
Well, that comes from.
I told you I bought a book. Didn't I tell you?
Oh, you did tell me that. Yeah.
I bought it. I bought the book. I'm going to learn jazz.
I love that. See, this comes from a text message interaction that we had where I was saying like, hey, look, here's some stuff, like some jazz stuff, but what do you think of this? And I don't think you were having it. I think you were like, nah, that's not for me. I'm like,
no, I was just joking, man. I love jazz. I love jazz, but I love the idea. I do not like the jazz you hear in like a town car if you're picked up, you know what I mean? Yeah, in New York City, like, you know, that soft jazz and drum machines and
nobody likes
direct electric guitar. I mean, I think that like the jazz greats would be rolling over in their grave, knowing that that's what people think of as jazz.
It's not
jazz is fucking punk rock.
Yeah, well,
you know, those guys. I mean, forget it, man. Those guys were, you know, on heroin and acid all the time, and they were pushing the boundaries of what was acceptable. I mean, they kind of invented punk rock.
That's the thing that I find exciting about it. Is it's just like it's wild. It's the Wild West. Yeah. So I don't know. So like what was like when you started, like what do you think, like before, what got you, like what was your first thing that was like, I gotta write songs? Like what was the first kind of music that hit you with that?
So I was given a guitar. My uncle gave me a guitar.
Okay.
It was like found in his basement, and it's like nobody really knew where it even came from because nobody in my family played music. My mom on the other side of the family, she plays piano, but like nobody had a guitar that I could think of. But you know, I would just sound out the chords, and you know, we couldn't afford lessons, and they weren't offered in my school or anything like that.
Yeah.
And so I thought you had to get like millions of lessons, hours and hours of lessons before you could learn somebody else's song.
Right.
And I just was like, okay, so I guess that's like not for me. I won't get there. So I just started immediately writing songs just so I could play the guitar. I wanted so badly to play the guitar. So that was how it came to be, that I would, one, learn how to play the guitar and just have fun with it, and two, like almost, it was secondary at first, but it was like songwriting was to facilitate my the action of playing guitar and enjoying the instrument. Right.
Same. That's the same thing. I just kind of learned chords, but my mom played. So
that's awesome.
What I'll do is I'll kick it off, and then I'll usually attach this to something. So what I'll do is my mom used to play the guitar and the piano, and she would play around the house all the time. So it was like my earliest memory, probably, I can't say whether it was 3 or 4, but it was, I was young, and I would hear I heard 2 things. I heard Bob Dylan and Joan Baez and Joni Mitchell songs, and then I heard hymns all the time. My mom would be playing hymns. So this day being a Sunday, I figured, well, why not? I'll play Mother's Day. I'll play a song my mom used to play me all the time. Oh. This might be the first song I ever remember hearing in my life. Oh, so wow. This song lots of people have done, but I'll play it for you, and feel free, drink, take a coffee, whatever you need to do. If you got to run, go ahead. Don't feel free that you have to stare at me. Comments are off. Nobody will say it. So this is an old church song that I heard called "Leaning on the Everlasting Arms." So here we go. What a fellowship, what a joy divine, leaning on everlasting arms. What a blessedness, what a peace is mine, leaning on everlasting arms. Leaning, safe and secure from all alarm. Leaning, I'm leaning on everlasting arms. What have I to dread? What have I to fear? Leaning on everlasting arms. I have blessed peace with my Lord so near. Leaning on everlasting arms. Leaning and secure from all alone. Leaning, I'm leaning on everlasting arms. Leaning, safe and secure from all alone. Leaning, I'm leaning on everlasting arms. There you go.
Man,
That was my house.
That's so beautiful. It's so beautiful. It's like, man, you know, I grew up with my mom singing all the time also. But those weren't the kind of hymns that were played in my house. Like my mother would sing like Linda Ronstadt and Stevie Nicks songs all the time, which is amazing. But the hymn stuff was like real, like Protestant, kind of strange stuff.
My mom had a funny thing. Like, it was just me and my mom when I was real young, and we went to like one of those churches that was in like kind of a I don't know if it was like an AA hall or whatever, but it was like, it had like literally the cliche like old sign where the S was out or whatever, you know, so it'd be like Jesus saves, but like one of the lights was out. And like, it was for not like, it was definitely for like your down and out like people. Like my mom wasn't like, you know, an addict or anything, but she just like, that's where she went. And so like I went with her, and my first experience was like, you know, pretty rough people, but who had, I guess, like, you know, found religion. But the one thing they did is they sang these like beautiful songs. And the funny thing is they sang them all broken because none of them were really singers. And it was like, I remember that impacting me so heavily, like further on, you know, growing up. It was wild.
I'd rather hear it that way than with like eminent skill, honestly. Yeah,
me too. I think they were kind of written for lack of skill, which is,
I think they were.
You know, like which is awesome. Yeah. So when you started playing and writing, I actually, well, truth be told, so I've known of your writing since way back, like in the 90s when you were in bands and everything. And then you came out and you had your own band, and you did something that most people would have considered very revolutionary at the time. And it was just, for a long time, it was just you and a guitar, right? Live? Which is wild.
For like 3 years, it was just me and the guitar.
And but what's even more wild is you succeeded doing that.
Yeah. I think now it's thought of as like kind of commonplace or not that unusual.
Right.
There's so many great people doing it, especially. There were always great people playing acoustic guitar. I don't mean that. Sure. I mean great people from our world. You know,
from the punk world,
hardcore scene, coming out and doing that. And I guess, you know, the book on Dashboard's kind of been written, you know, like, but there's people that don't know that that's where we come from, is the hardcore scene and the post-hardcore scene, the punk rock scene. So I didn't know where else to book shows. Where was I going to go book at a coffee shop? I truly honestly didn't even know people played coffee shops. I'd never seen that actually happen. So I didn't know that was a thing. My network of like how to get shows was with the people I talked to book for Further Seems Forever.
Sure.
So that's who I called to say if I could be on shows. I'd call like Toby from H2O, where's a show around you? I'd call, you know, Chris from Save Today, where's a show around you? Or, you know, can you, and just like they would do to me, you know, can you get me a show down there?
Yeah.
And just to name a couple, but it was like that. So I had an inroad having been a part of the scene, but I don't know that it was always like perfectly well received. I really had to fight my way through a good 3/4 of the set to get anybody to like give it a chance.
Yeah.
Not like dismiss it out of hand because like, oh, that's not a whole band. That's just a dude with an acoustic guitar. That's not us.
Right. But I mean, I can testify that you were the pioneer. You paved the way for that. There was obviously there's people before you, but in our specific scene, like Billy Bragg, I think he wasn't in our scene. No one knew Billy Bragg yet.
No.
When we were 17, 18, like no one knew Billy Bragg. That was a record you had to really dig for to find, and only maybe a few older kids knew. So you were the pioneer in my understanding, and I think that is like that should be said.
Thank you. You know, I really appreciate that. And it's funny that you mentioned Billy Bragg because I would hear that a lot in the early days.
Yeah.
From the older cats.
Yeah.
But I didn't know who Billy Bragg was yet.
Same.
It's like I was green and music wasn't as easy to find as it is. Just you hear somebody say Billy Bragg, there's people making a note of it now to go look for it. Somebody somewhere is doing that right now.
Sure.
And they'll find it tonight when we're done, or maybe they'll stop watching now and go find it. And
check out Back to Basics. Great record.
Yeah, so good. And I was like, so then I embraced that wholeheartedly, by the way. I think I played New England for like 2 years straight. Once I realized, there's like, I'm in the vein of something that was like striking to me, like, I belong somewhere. I do belong. Because I stepped out of what's comfortable within my scene to do something I was more comfortable doing, or as comfortable, or maybe the fear surrounding it, making it weird, made it more punk rock to me.
Yeah.
And,
that makes sense.
But it was cool to find like a kinship there.
Yeah.
He's obviously a legend, and I don't mean to compare myself to a legend, but it was that thing that I needed as a singer in a lot of ways. Like you can be brash and punk doing this thing for sure.
100%. I agree. Well,
I think that makes me think of. I want to kind of go all the way. Can I go all the way back to like?
Go all. You can do anything you want. This is free form.
Man, this is a hell of a belter to play to an iPod. So hopefully,
it'll be great. It'll be great.
I feel like it's gonna be great. I'm gonna play this song that I don't think I will remember how New England goes now. But so I'll play this song. But I used to go from this song into New England. But this is what I was thinking of while we were having that little talk. Anyway,
awesome.
This is from my first record, which is called The Swiss Army Romance, and that's the name of this song.
Yes. This is great. So that's what I'm talking about. Like you had this thing that I don't think no one had really gotten to yet. And you know, one thing that struck me early on, I don't know if it's necessarily true, but you know, there was something, I don't know. You're from Florida, right? Okay, so I don't know if it's
I'm from like the Hartford area, and I moved in my like I think about 16 to Florida.
okay.
But that's where I started like being in bands.
Right. So there was something about when I heard when I heard your music in Dashboard when you're doing this for the first time, I heard it right away. So like, you know, all my friends had the records and it was like stamped cool by my friends. Like everybody was like, you know, because we would do that thing where you'd be like, is that cool? And I don't know about that. No, that's cool. So you got the stamp. But one thing I noticed is there was always this element of like positivity and like hope in it, where it wasn't like you could sing about like these crushing things, but yet you never were like, so you might as well just jump out a window, you know, like, and I think it like, where does that come from? Like,
Well, I'm glad you hear it, but I think that's been the undercurrent of all the songs I've written, because, and you know, I love emo. I love that whole scene that I
yeah,
come out of and that I'm part of, and I don't hate the term.
I don't either. I was really into it,
Yeah,
and still listen to, you know.
me too. But I have, you know, peers that have that liked the term and when it was theirs, or when it
Right.
was like first placed on them, and it's become some like kind of thing that they disassociate from. I don't feel that way. And I
Right.
think that maybe that's because I know the caricature of me is not who I am. And I know the people that really listen to my music know that it's not just sad. It's not just this sad shit. It's just
Right.
not. It's
Well,
written from a place of like, um, sometimes this is what it takes to get through to being great, to feeling good,
yeah.
to being okay, to being all the way you again. And you've got to like own that moment somewhere, that moment of like the last hurdle. And for me,
Yeah.
I've always had this like healthy place to put it. It's just in a song. You know?
That's awesome. I mean, that's the thing too. Like, I think that I don't know. Like, I hear you about the like the label when they, you know, there was like a lot of that in early on, but I think that some of that, like some of those early bands that came out now, I think are becoming some of the most respected bands. Like,
Oh yeah,
I don't think you would find anybody talking any trash about Mineral or Jeremy
American
Enoch or any of that
football.
stuff. American football, come on. Like, that's like one of the biggest things now. But
Yeah.
that was a secret. Like, when we were starting out, I remember that being like a cassette tape that somebody burned for me, because there was no way you were finding that in the store.
No.
So it's, I don't know, that's pretty cool. Like, that now it's becoming like people are looking back on it and realizing like there was some, it was like more, I don't want to say like more educated, but there was an educated element. Like, you could tell that there was like these post-hardcore bands and like yourself and bands like that were speaking about like American football. They were read. They were not like, it wasn't crass music. It was very like thought out. It was like poetry almost, you know?
Yeah.
I think that's cool. It's cool stuff.
Yeah.
What do you
I
think?
agree.
So what do you think like keeps you now? Like like how do you stay excited like when you're writing? Like what gets you going now? Because you know, like you've had a lot of success, and how do you, you know, or do you feel like gripped by, like I feel gripped by anxiety now, you know, like when I sit down to write. So like what about you?
Sometimes, yeah, I
Yeah.
feel gripped by anxiety. Well, if I were to write now,
Yeah.
like people are like, this is a great time, and you got time off now,
Yeah.
so you can just write. Like, oh, sure, when the world is upside down, no, man, I've got to deal with reality.
Yeah.
I don't have time to be like selfish with my time and like just give it to this, you know,
Yeah.
when it wants it.
Right.
I don't have it. I'd love to, but the world's fucking upside down, so I
Yeah.
don't have it. But luckily, it wasn't like this 5 months ago when I wrote a whole record and recorded it. So I
Okay.
can talk about that, how that felt before this happened. And before I started recording that record, before I even started writing it, I had like this great moment of clarity, like, I don't have to make any more music.
Wow. Okay.
Like, and so that means that I get to do it because I really, really love to do this.
Sure.
Um, and I'm only going to do it when I really, really love it. And I'm only going to record it because I really think that one is something I'll continue to really love. Not because I think like you might love it, or the royal you might love it. Just because I think like I will, and that like you're like that with your first record, and you're always trying to get back there again. Because in your first record, you can't conceive, you hope, but you can't conceive anybody will hear it. And your dreams of like, if everybody heard this, it'd be amazing. You're talking about like 100 people you know. Right?
Yeah, totally.
You still have that feeling like, oh yeah, I want everybody to love this, and I want it to be everybody. But the everybody's really small.
Yeah.
Or at least it was then. Now it's changed because of this interface that we can all use. And so, but I certainly cherish that that's a place I was and have strived to stay at and get back to with varying degrees of success. But recently, I felt so liberated after my last record was like a major label. Well, I made it without being signed or anything like that. But then I did a deal with a major label for the record, and everything was fantastic. I loved the label. I loved the people there. But after I was done, I was like, I really feel like I need to make a record that feels to me. I can't say that this is what a fan would think of mine. Yeah. But it feels to me how it felt when I made the Swiss Army Romance and The Places You've Come to Fear the Most, which were made really close together. I often put them together as one record because they were released ostensibly like 3-4 months apart.
Yeah, that was quick coming out.
Yeah. And I did. I wrote an album that to me feels like, I guess I'm a different person. You're always the guy you were and the guy you are and the guy you hope to be.
Right.
But the person I am now, through that, like what if I were to use that same tool, that same filter, same lens? These are terrible analogies. If I were going to use the same brush and the same canvas and the same paint, how's that? Yeah. But I'm the person I am now. But I'm limiting myself to this palette. What would happen? Yeah. Would it be good? And fucking it is good. I'm really excited for this to come out. And the thing is, I'm intentionally like holding off. Yeah. Because I don't want this to feel like I rushed it out because there's a void. It's too special to me to like be like, oh yeah, just like, well, we don't have anything else to listen to, so we listen to his record. No. I don't want. If this thing's got to succeed or fail in its own merit, not because we're in a vacuum. Right. And we need stuff, Yeah. So I'm letting that go. But yeah, I did that recently, and I was so happy to get back. And that doesn't mean there's no band records to come. And there's a little band on there, Sure. But it felt really good to just have, just like the old girl, and then the voice, and and lyrics that are too long. Yeah.
I'm a big fan of that.
Yeah, me too.
So now, if you're writing that way, like, have you ever dealt with like, I don't know, like when you're writing and like you get like just totally blocked up? Have you ever gotten that? Yeah. And what do you do?
Well, mostly I fail.
Yeah, I'm with you.
Mostly I fail. This fucked up thing where we're like if somebody was sitting with you, they'd be like, "That's a prolific dude," because you're writing a fuck ton. And it's like piling up on your coffee table. I still write with a pencil and or a pen and paper. It's just piles of stuff. And they're a lot of them get finished. Yeah. It's not even that I can't get like half the song and then I can't get the other quarter and I've got to piece it together. No, they're like oftentimes, sometimes I can't even get the fucking first 3 words done. Sometimes it goes and goes. Yeah. But you're just like, this sucks. Yeah. I'll throw it on the pile. Yeah, and then I don't know what it is. That's right. That's what writer's block is to me.
I agree.
It's the worst. And I'll often like make this mistake of like I said it before. Like you can go back and it sounds pretty good. You're like surprised, like, hey, that's not so bad. But I've never actually. Let me expand on that just a little. I've never actually revived any of those songs. Really? Because I feel like they hold a little bit of their cousins in the pool there. Yeah. The ones that they couldn't float.
They're like tainted in a way, right?
They're tainted. To me, they're tainted.
I feel you.
You know?
Yeah, because
tell me you felt like that.
I like whenever I get to that place, like I know those. It's like you feel like you're walking in like mud. Like, oh, I got like these voice notes, and I'll go back to them. Dude, I delete everything from that period.
I do too.
I'm like, no, it's all poison. Out.
So somebody told me to start like when I told them that I was doing that, deleting my voice message. They were like, "You're crazy." So started saving them to Dropbox.
Yeah.
I've never looked at that folder.
Well, let me save you the trouble, because like last time when I was sitting down, I went back. Like I was so frustrated. Like one day during the summer that I was just like, I'm never gonna write another song again. And I went back to the box, right, of all the like voice notes or whatever. And I was like, that sucks. That sucks. Everything sucked. I was like, this is garbage. This is why I didn't use it, because it's garbage. And it was like, it was so funny how that was the way, but sort of what you said before about when you finish a song and you think it's not so good. I think when you finish this song, that I came back to one of those and was like, okay, the music and the melody here are great. I just got to, but these lyrics are garbage. But that I went back to. It's the pieces, the little ideas. No, like
no, yeah, those are useless. I mean, maybe like I think they can be recycled. I did have a friend who told me like you've kind of got to like excise those from your system. They're in there.
Yeah,
they're in there, and you've just got to get through. You got to power through them. Maybe there's something to that. So like even the shitty ones, you can't have a good one without the shitty ones.
Dude, I heard, I watched a songwriting seminar with Ed Sheeran, and he said that, like, right off the bat. He's like, well, every time I sit down to write songs, like, for a record, he goes, I write the worst stuff out. He goes, because I think you need to flush the pipes. And I was like, whoa.
Yeah.
Okay.
That rings true for me.
Yeah.
So I've only had, like, one real success story where, like, right, this is how it normally goes for me.
Sure.
It's like, normally it's like a marathon session of like, all right, hold on, let me pull a few steps back.
Sure.
Every day I write like you. Mm-hmm. Every day I write. And every day I finish the song, because I think that's the hardest part. Mm-hmm. It's like getting to that ending part, getting to yourself over that finish line. You can, so like it's like practicing scales too. You know, you've got to have the agility, and so I do that with my writing. And I'll tell you why I do it, because when this may have happened to you, many people I've talked to have run into this. When you get that moment of this is happening outside of me almost.
Yeah. And
you're like just chasing the fucking song. And sometimes you realize it's good. Sometimes I realize it's good. And then I realize, oh, the only person around that can fuck this up is me.
Yeah.
And I fail because I don't push, like at first resistance, I make too hard of a turn, or I don't know how to navigate to the end.
Yeah.
And because I put in the man hours to just finish songs that maybe I know aren't good, or are pretty good, or are just bad, I still finish them because I wanna have that muscle memory.
Right.
So I've only had this one, and so usually it's like this marathon. So I told you I wake up super early. So you have to picture me. I wake up. I've given up coffee now, but usually this is how it goes. It's like 3:30, 3 o'clock in the morning. I wake up. I make like French press. I go downstairs. It's usually like low lit, beautiful. I have coffee. I wait for it to kick in a little bit, and then just start playing, strumming, singing, and maybe something pretty comes out. But if not, that's okay. I put my guitar down and I just start writing.
Yeah.
And it's aimless.
I feel that.
You just fill the page.
Yeah.
And maybe the next page and several pages with things that when you go back and you look at them, I've heard you talk about this actually on your show. But you go back and you look at them and you're like, this is a great line.
Right.
This is a great line. And you get somewhere, you realize, oh, now I'm writing a song. And so you start staying within the narrative. But it's funny, you can go back. It's not just that they're good. It's that they were pointing to where you were going to go later.
Right.
And you can go and use them. Oh, it's so exciting. And then you get lucky. And so maybe it's like, by now it's 8 in the morning, and then it's 11 in the morning, you got a whole song done, and you're actually like recording it at noon into your phone, not like, and maybe if it's great, I'll go, into the basement and set up the real mics and record the song. Or not even if it's great, just if I'm like not spent out of the creative moment. But so if I'm interrupted in this time, things can just go haywire, I'll go to shit. Yeah. And I had this happen exactly as I've stated, like wake up and like, I didn't get out of bed. I just was like, there was a first line. And I thought it, and I was like, oh, what's nearby? And I grabbed my iPad with the tiny keyboard. Yeah. That I had, the Bluetooth keyboard. Yeah. So small. I don't mess with that, man. My fingers won't do it. It hurts. It's so bad. It's so dumb. But it's what I had. Yeah. I didn't want to change my environment. Right. I didn't want to lose it in turning the light on, looking for pencil, looking for a piece of paper. Just like, this is here. I can use it. Sure. And so I wrote, and it's a lot, like, I'll sing the song for you today, but it's a long song in terms of, not time, but in terms of what I'm saying. Yeah. And I got the first verse, it's like a novel. Oh, okay. And then the chorus happens. And then I was interrupted. My friend who I'd said, he was going to loan me his trailer that day so I could go pick up some wood. And he showed up. So I wasn't expecting it, but you know how time goes by like this. Yes. This weird thing where you're like, oh, it's probably still 3 a.m. Well, actually, by then, it was 9 o'clock or 8:30 when he was supposed to show up. And so I never got to the next. And I'm telling you, Brian, I tried the whole next day to pick up the thread, and it wasn't there. The next week, the following week, for months, literally for months. It's the only time that I just couldn't let a song go. Yeah. And I chased this motherfucker like you wouldn't fucking believe. I feel that. I was in London. No, I was in Manchester, I think. Or was it Newcastle? Somewhere. It was either Manchester or Newcastle. And I woke up and one line popped in my head. It was the same thing repeated itself all those months later. Oh. And it had no interruption in the train of thought. It was just this it was like hiding back there. This fucker was just hiding out the whole time. And it just continued. And I had another 4-hour session where I just wrote lyrics and nothing else. I love that. Can I play it for you? Dude, let's go. Yeah, this is awesome. The hype is high. It's the only song I've been playing from my new record. And the song, some people that have listened to me, my live streams know it by now, maybe. And I've played like 3 times live. Okay. And it's been like my favorite thing because I can feel the old fucking fire from the original Dashboard shows. Right. When I play this. And maybe that's coming from me. That's where it's got to come from, though. From the audience. It's got to come from you into them and then back to you. And back to me, right? Yeah. We know that, right? We're just a conduit. Totally. We got to give it all that we have. You got it. It started with this, it's called Burning Heart. Let's do it. And it started with this one line that popped into my head that could have been fucking anything. And all it said was, look, maybe I'll start. I love that. I don't know. So, look, maybe I'll start. I mean, you can if you want to, but if you won't, I can start because I've been thinking over every single thing I might have ever said and done. And there are just so many things I wish I hadn't said and done. I feel heavy. Now that things are said and done, I just feel heavy. Cause I'm carrying around all of this with me. And if I never make a sound, it might just kill me. I've kept swallowing it down for such a long time. Yeah, I've been living with this now for quite a long time. And the problem isn't yours, it's really all mine. And what I really want to tell you is that sometimes, not every single time, but probably most times, I wish all that fault was mine, but it was all mine. Yours, but it was all mine. And since we're figuring out long time. I see you everywhere I go, and everywhere I go, I feel this same damn burning heart. Same damn burning, same damn burning heart. Same damn burning heart. Same damn burning heart. Now here's the worst part. I guess I'll never know for sure what made us go wrong. I can tell because I've been searching for some broke or missing piece, but it's not any single thing. It's just a million little pinpricks and their million little stings that almost broke us. I don't think we have to let that break us. And it's hard for you and me, but you know so what? Who got anywhere by leaving every door shut? I'm just asking if you feel the way I'm feeling. Like it's hurt, and I'm afraid just might start healing. That I don't want to lose, cause it's the one thing that I really want to feel, and maybe sometimes, not every single time, but probably most times. I know every fault is mine, and I can own it. And since we're being open for the first time in a long time, I see you everywhere I go, and everywhere I go, I feel the same damn burning heart. The same damn burning heart. The same damn burning heart. I see you everywhere I go, and everywhere I go, I feel the same damn burning heart. Same damn burning heart. Same damn burning heart. Same damn burning heart. Same damn burning heart.
That's great. Well, that's
sorry, I haven't memorized it all.
That's one of the new ones coming up from the new one,
Yeah.
right? Dude, that's an awesome song. I'll be honest with you. Like, I think that's great. Really good.
Oh, thanks.
I would just be like, yeah, that's cool if I didn't like it. That's really good. So,
Yeah.
so that's great. Well, okay. Then there you go. You got something to be excited about.
Yeah, so that was the one. I like put it on the shelf for forever. I just had half a song.
Yeah.
It's the only one I've ever had like half a song that like ever was like, they all want to be finished, but this motherfucker demanded it.
Yeah, no, I feel you. Like, I mean, I know what you're talking about. And sometimes you got to wait. Like, I've read about people waiting 20 years to finish songs, you know?
Yeah.
Like, it's such a...
Like, how long will you wait? Do you wait regularly? Like, will you do it? Will you wait?
No, I'm pretty impatient. Like, as far as... I feel like I get real weird about the curse of the idea. And sometimes I just go, yeah, that was too weird. So I don't know. Unless it's like really good, but then I will sort of relentlessly dig at it until it comes out. Like, I just won't stop. And I won't work on anything else, which is sort of detrimental at the time, because I'll spend weeks on one song. So
yeah, I like those songs that are selfish.
You just have to try not to be too selfish while you're searching for the selfish song. That's the trick.
It's tough.
You know how that is. It's trick. You know, when you got a family and everything, it's different.
It's hard.
Yeah, totally.
It was so easy. It was so easy.
It was.
We didn't know it. We didn't know to appreciate it.
We didn't
know. Trade it. Wouldn't trade it back.
It's so.
We could be just like in service of the song and only the song for a brief, beautiful period.
Like, I used to be on tour, and like everybody, like I remember after the show, everybody would drink. I didn't drink, so like everybody would go out to the bars, and I would be like, that's my time, and I would just go out like to the van and write songs. Like, that's how obsessed I was with it. It was weird, but like now everybody's like showing out in the van with you. I was like, well, it's all right. It's just my thing. Like, you guys probably had a better time, but I was just like, I don't know. It's what I did.
Yeah, man, I think you made the right choice. I think your fans would agree that you made the right choice. As a fan, I would say you made the right choice.
Thank you. It was the only choice for me. I was obsessive. You know, I got to put the energy somewhere. Well, yeah. This is awesome. I can't wait till to hear this record that you've got cooked up, and I think that this has been awesome. I would love talking to you.
I love talking to you, Brian.
This is great.
This has been great. Thanks for letting me meet some of your fans tonight.
Of course. I mean, they're thrilled. I can tell you the amount of love that I got as soon as I told them you were coming on. People went nuts. They were really happy. So
yeah, my people too. We have a lot of overlap. It's very nice.
I love this. It's electric. You know, we can hang out more if you want.
We can. Let's see. We'll do a part 2.
Absolutely, 100%. Well, thank you for coming on the show, and I'm grateful to have you, and I love your stories, and I love your music.
Thank you. I love your music. I love your stories. And hey, man, please I know you're going to keep doing this, but this has been keeping me and a lot of my friends real sane, you know, having this to look forward to weekly. So thank you for doing this.
Of course. That's kind of why I'm doing it, is to just give people something to do, you know?